What's up, you guys? It's Ayana, the Crafty Notary, and I'm just here enjoying some jelly beans. I love this time of the year because we get to eat jelly beans. So while I finish that, let's get into why we're here on today's video. So I've been asked this twice, and today I got a message about it, and I was actually asked about it, I believe last week or so. So as the title states for this video, we are talking about how to start your business. Now, we've already talked about how to get your notary commission. If you rewind back a few videos and go back and watch some of the first videos that I did, we talked about how to get your notary commission in the state of Florida. And we also talked about how to become a certified loan signing agent in the state of Florida. But it doesn't end there, because some people want to know, what do you do next as far as starting a business? And that is what we're here to talk about. Let me tell you, that is the one thing that I know for sure. One of those things on the wall over there, well, two of them, gives me the audacity to talk about business. So let's jump right into it. So the first step you want to do when you are thinking of starting a business is get a business plan. And I know it sounds cliche. However, the business plan is the blueprint for the business. When you have an idea and you think you want to turn that idea into a business, what goes into the business plan is your market research, what your competitive advantages are, what your competitive weaknesses are, who's your target audience, how will your business be structured, how will it be, how will the taxes be dealt with, all of those things. What are you charging? What services are you providing? How will you market? All of that goes into the business plan. And it's the most overlooked thing that people, when it comes to starting a business, okay? Lucky for you, I have a link in the description below for a template that I got from the Business Daily some time ago. And that's what I'm using for my business plan. It's a template. You can't alter it. You have to create your own. But it gives you all of the pieces that you need for the business plan. So the template is in the link below. One day we'll go step by step through this business plan, but that's not today. But you want to have a business plan. So feel free to click that link. Number 2 is you want to have a business name. Okay, now I see people, I've seen people in this business just go to the deep end. And you know what? I'm not going to clown them, because I probably did the same thing. Like, oh, well, what is my business name going to be? The Crafty Notary was born out of a previous business that I had called the Crafty Collection, where I was creating handmade items such as masks when the pandemic started and other things. I'm pretty crafty. So that's where the Crafty Notary came from. It was an offshoot of the Crafty Collection. And that's what I decided to name it. But you can name your business what you want to name it. The only thing you want to look out for is if you go to sunbiz.org, that is the site for the state of Florida that handles all of the business specifics. You want to make sure you search the name of your business to make sure that someone else doesn't already have that name, because they may have that name trademarked. And if they do, you're infringing on their intellectual property and they can sue you. So at the very least, you want to make sure that you check sunbiz.org to make sure that name is not taken. Now, I would say go a step further and also Google the name that you want as well. And make sure that there's no Google websites, no other companies with that same name. Because again, if they have invested in a trademark, you will be infringing on their trademark. And so you don't want to do that. So a business name can be whatever you want it to be. It can be your an offshoot of your name. It can be completely different. So I would not get caught up in the business name. Just be caught up in the business and doing the business correctly. So that is the second thing. The third thing we're going to talk about is the legal structure. Now, in the state of Florida, and you know what? Let me stop and make a disclaimer. I am not a tax consultant. I'm not a certified public accountant or a CPA. I'm not an attorney. So the advice I'm giving you on this video is based upon my experience only and based upon what I've learned as far as education goes and experience. So don't come back on me for talking about what I said had happened. All right, moving forward. Okay, so you can be a various numbers of legal types when you're forming your business. You can form it under a few legal types. The first one that I'm going to talk about is the sole proprietor. What a sole proprietor is you, me, acting as a business. The business is my name, and I am acting as the business person. Okay? The second type of business is an LLC. An LLC is now an entity that is created with a business name, but it can be just sole member, which is me, just one member of that LLC. And we'll talk about the differences between all of these as far as taxes are concerned next. The next thing is that you can be an LLC with someone else, and now that's called a partnership. Okay? And both of you can own a piece of the business. And then finally, you can be a corporation, whereas a corporation is a completely separate entity. So for sole proprietor and LLC, you and the business are together. However, there's a line there because you're going to differentiate yourself from your business. A corporation is just a whole different person. So it's you here, corporation here. Corporation is its own entity, so it acts as its own person. Okay? So that's that. Now, as it relates to taxes, and again, this is from what I know, and you can read this, you can Google this and read this for yourself. As a sole proprietor, you are taxed, or your taxes are filed through your personal tax return as what is called a Schedule C. So that's why I said you and the business are kind of one, but there's a thin line that differentiates you between that business. In the LLC as a single member, you are also taxed on your personal tax form as a Schedule C. So again, that's why I said that. Now, when you become a partnership, that becomes a little bit different. Now you are taxed, you are now forming a corporate entity, and it's a separate tax return for that LLC partnership. And I would imagine that you could probably do this as a single member LLC as well, but I don't think there would be any benefit because you would be paying much more for a corporate tax return in addition to paying for your own personal tax return. And from what I've researched, the going rate for business tax returns is anywhere between $300 to $500. So you don't want to do that. And then as a corporation, remember, if you are here, the corporation is here, there's two separate tax returns. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, we could go into what's an S Corp and what's a C Corp, but we're not going to do that on this video. But just know that you can form an LLC as a single member. You can make it into an S Corp, which essentially turns it into its own corporate entity, and now you become an employee. So, but typically there's a certain amount of money that you should be making before you do that. So consult with a CPA or a tax attorney in order to get more information on that. Now, if you are a sole proprietor and you want to do business as a sole proprietor, but you want to do it under a different name, then you will get what's called a DBA, doing business as. So now you don't need a DBA if you're an LLC, because your LLC is your business name, unless you want to do business under your LLC name as a different name. So for example, my LLC is not called the Crafty Notary. I have a DBA, the Crafty Notary, that's different than my LLC name. Also, if you're a sole proprietor, you can do that. So if I said Ayana Lugo I'm a sole proprietor, I can do business as the Crafty Notary as a sole proprietor. Now, which one do I prefer? Because I'm sure I'll get that question. I said this on another video and I'll say it again here. I prefer that you spend the least amount of money possible in order to get ramped up into this business. We already pay for a commission. We pay for training to learn how to be a loan signing agent. We pay for printers. We pay for computers. We pay for a scanner. We pay for E&O insurance. We pay for a bond. We pay for a journal. We pay for a stamp. You pay for paper and ink and all of that stuff. So it's a pretty hefty startup cost to begin with. An LLC in the state of Florida, I think, is $125 or $150. I don't remember which one it is. But you also have to keep in mind, if you have that money today, that's fine. But next year, in 2023, are you still going to be working in this business? Because if not, you're going to have to pay an annual filing fee for that LLC, which you don't have to do that when you're a sole proprietor. So if you're just getting your feet wet and you're not sure if this business is going to work for you long term, my advice is to stay as a sole proprietor. I already had an LLC, so that's why I just used the LLC to do this business as well. And my husband owns part of it, and he has his side income as well going through our business. So we have more than one use for our LLC, which pays for the annual fee itself. Our business income pays for that, and it's a deduction. But if you don't have any funds coming in, like I did at the end of 2020, when 2021 hit, I had to pay that filing fee out of my pocket. I had no funds coming in. So that's something to consider. And again, my advice is to spend the least amount of money possible in order to get started. So I would say start as a sole proprietor. Now you're going to say, what about an EIN? You can get an EIN number. What is an EIN? It's an employer identification number. You get this number from the IRS. This is the number you use in order to file your taxes and to create a credit file. So as a sole proprietor, you can go onto the IRS website and get a EIN. How do I know that? Because I have one, and I've had one for years and years and years. And then you can use that EIN in perpetuity, forever. It's there, it doesn't change. So you can have an EIN as a sole proprietor. You can also, and then you would just update them as far as the DBA if you change that or if you keep it the same. So, but you can have an EIN. And you certainly will need an EIN for an LLC. And you definitely will need one for a corporation. But what you need to know is that you can get one as a sole proprietor. All right. Now, let's back up a little bit here. If you form an LLC, you are going to file what is called an Articles of Incorporation. That document will be needed when you get ready to open your bank account, along with your EIN number. You will need those two pieces of information at the very least for your business if you're an LLC. I'm not sure how it works if you're a sole proprietor. I know you need the EIN, but I don't know what else you will need in order to open a business account as a sole proprietor. But I imagine if you have a DBA, you will probably need that document. But I'm not sure what else you would need. But you will need a bank account for your business. Why do you need a bank account? Because remember I said the sole proprietor and the business is kind of like this. Well, the bank account puts some space in between you two. The same as a single member LLC. Your taxes are being filed like this. You and the business are being filed like this. A bank account puts some space in between you two. And so what the bank account does is create a veil. You heard of the corporate veil? That's what it's creating. The bank account creates that. The articles of incorporation also create that. That veil puts that space between you. And you also want to have I can't think of it. An operating agreement. Even if it's just you, even if you own the business by yourself, if you have an LLC, you want articles of incorporation and you want an operating agreement. Just Google it. There's samples out there. Pick one, create it. And then what you should do is create a binder. This is what I plan to do. I have everything in one place, but I plan to create a binder where all of that information is there. So if anything ever happens and I have to go to court to prove my company is legit, I got a binder full of everything already there. Whatever they need, I got it. Pay no attention to the dog walking on the crumbly cat bag. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, as an LLC, you can also, good grief, dog, get out of the way. As an LLC, you can also create, you can also have meetings and create minutes. So if you do that, you can, you should save those minutes as well in that binder. Let me get this bag because she will walk on it again. All right. So, and by the way, your business meeting, your annual meeting is tax deductible. So you could literally go somewhere out of the country or to a hotel somewhere nice in Vegas or whatever have you, have your annual meeting with yourself or with whoever owns the company. And as long as you're there on business, part of that trip is tax deductible. But again, check with your CPA. But I'm just going by what my CPA told me. So just check with yours. All right, back to the bank account. So where should you bank? That part does not matter. But I will say this. If you're signing up with signing services, some of the signing services issue what is called an e-check. It's a check that you print out on your printer, sign the back of it, and you can deposit it like a regular check. You can use mobile deposit, you can put an ATM, however you choose to do your banking. But I will tell you, some banks do not accept that e-check. And the one bank that I know that does not accept it is Navy Federal. How do I know? Because I bank with Navy Federal. So you might want to ask about e-checks when you're looking to select a bank. You might want to call and find out if they accept e-checks, because if they don't, then you will have to pay a fee to have it direct deposited into your account. And at this point, that's what I'm going to do because I just don't want to go through the hassle of changing banks again. I already did that once. So it doesn't matter which bank. It could be a credit union. It could be a big bank, you know, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever have you. It could be any one of those banks. But that's the only thing I would say watch out for or to ask if they do accept e-checks. All right. And then you also need insurance. So we already know that. You probably already have E&O insurance. You're already going to have a bond. you might want to get general liability insurance. And the reason why you might want to have general liability insurance is because this covers any personal bodily injury, any injury to property, that kind of thing. And let's say you're driving to someone's house and you accidentally mess up their grass or something like that. Or you knock down their mailbox, that kind of thing. So liability insurance will cover that. Not that you would probably go through the insurance company to replace something like that, but you never know what could happen, or you could slip and fall on someone's porch. And even though you have health insurance, your general liability insurance will probably pick that up too. So general liability insurance is optional, but it is something that you should get if you're running a business. Let's see. Those are the basics there. Oh, no, it's not. I got a page 2. Sorry. All right. So the next one is brand yourself. So this is the last one. Brand yourself. And what I mean by that is pick a logo for your company. And even if you're a sole proprietor, pick a logo for yourself. Pick colors for yourself. When you pick the color for yourself, find out what the hex number is. That is the 4-digit code to your colors. Because when you go to create your branding anywhere else, instead of just choosing a color that could be a little bit similar to your color, if you put that code in there, then it'll give you the exact color. And you want your branding to be consistent across everything. So your business cards, any name badges, any t-shirts, your social media content, all of that can be branded with specific colors. Canva.com is typically a free app where you can create a logo, you can create social media content, you can create graphics, you can even create the postcards that I send out. You can create t-shirts now and have them shipped to you. They'll make the t-shirt and send it to you. So you can actually pick your colors on Canva. Like I said, get that hex code. It's a 4-digit code. It's usually letters and numbers. Write that down somewhere. I have it in my computer. Write that number down somewhere. And then that way, every time you get something colored, you have the correct colors. And even if down the line you go with a professional to totally revamp your business after you're booming and making 100K, then you can give him your actual color so that doesn't change. So even if your logo changes, your colors never change. So you want to make sure you do that too. Website. For me, website is hit or miss. It's one of those things where don't spend the money for a website if you don't have it right now. If you're making money and you think you want a website, then get a website. I would say, am I found on Google by the website? I think that I'm found on Google by the Google business page. So at the very least, you want to create a Google My Business page. And it kind of acts as a website as well. So that will give you an online presence in the search engines. So I would go for that if you don't have the money to create a website. Now, here's a caveat though. You do want to spend money on your domain. So when you start your business and you pick your name and you've made sure no one else has it, you've Googled it and made sure it's not in Google somewhere, you want to go to GoDaddy or wherever you can buy a domain and buy that domain name. I suggest buying it under .com and .net or .org, whatever, all of them. So that way no one can take it from you and then try to sell it back to you. But at the very least, buy the .com and make sure that you have your domain secured, because you don't want to not have a website and then get down the line 2 or 3 years and decide you want a website and then go look for that domain name and it's not there. And now you got to come up with some other fancy way to get to your name. So when you're searching for your name, make sure you search for that name on Google and make sure that domain name is also available so that you can get that as well. Now, I will say spend money on that. It's usually not that much for the first year. They usually give you a deal on the first year. So I would say buy for the first year. If your notary business doesn't work out and you shut it down, then you don't renew it. Simple as that. But you do want your domain name. And that's it pretty much. After that, get going, start signing up with signing services and escrow officers, title companies, lenders, real estate, whoever it is. Start marketing yourself and getting business. But you want to make sure that you set your business up properly from the beginning. You also want to include professionals along the way. So you need to get a CPA. You don't necessarily need a bookkeeper. There's apps for that, like Notary Gadget, that can keep really good records of your notary business that you can just give to your tax professional. But at the very least, you want a tax person on your team who can answer questions about taxes and anything else. And typically that's a CPA. You don't have to pay for bookkeeping at this point, but I would say at least have someone that you can go to ask questions about your business. And personally, I wouldn't be using H&R or any of those types of companies to handle my business taxes, because you want to be able to ask questions year round. So I would say, form a relationship with a local person if you can, or, anyone. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be local because that's federal. So, but you want someone on your team that knows taxes or is a CPA that can help you with your books and your finances. What else? I think that's it. So shout out to those who asked me for this video. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. If you haven't done so, please, 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 please subscribe. Hit the notification bell, because I'll let you know this on this secret. So the Patreon is dead. I'm not doing that because I don't want to charge people more money. But I am going to create a private Facebook group. So if you want to be a part of that group, you need to send me a message on the Crafty Notary Facebook page. The Crafty Notary Facebook page, if you want to be a part of the private Facebook group. I'm going to build it brick by brick, and it's going to be completely private. So only those who are watching this video will be in the group. Okay? And also, once these videos are able to be monetized, I more than likely would be doing away with the coaching. And any question that you want to know, I will go live and answer those questions for you. So keep the questions coming in the comments below, because I want to make this as affordable as possible for you. I don't want folks spending extra money just to ask me questions when you can just ask me a question, unless you really, really need help in your business and then we really need to talk. That option will still be there. But if it's just a quick one-off question, we can do a live, and we can go live with that, and we'll let YouTube, pay on the back end. All you got to do is watch the video. So until the next time, I will see everyone later, and thank you again for watching. Bye.